There comes a point in everyone's life when exhaustion disguises itself as acceptance. You tell yourself that maybe things are supposed to be this hard, that perhaps some people are just meant to struggle, while others seem to have been chosen by luck itself. You work harder, you sacrifice rest, you stay up late repeating the same patterns, hoping that one of them will finally open the door to abundance. Yet deep inside, something whispers that prosperity shouldn't require endless struggle. That maybe the real problem isn't how much you're doing, but the energetic frequency from which you're doing it. The truth is, prosperity has never been about chasing. It has always been about alignment, an invisible harmony between what you desire and what you are willing to embody. When your internal energy vibrates in coherence with expansion, life naturally reorganizes around you. Opportunities stop hiding. People begin to see your value. Doors that were once sealed begin to open without effort. This is not coincidence. It is the magnetic response of the universe to a field that has finally stopped resisting its own worth. So, before we go further, I want to ask you something. How long have you been running from your own abundance? Not consciously, of course, but through every self-doubt, every moment you said, "I'll never make it." Every time you felt unworthy of ease, you've been teaching your energy to stay small. Prosperity, however, does not come to those who beg. It comes to those who remember. Remember that they are already a fragment of the very abundance they seek. This video will not give you shortcuts, because there are none. What it will give you is a reprogramming, a way to reconnect with the rhythm of life that is always trying to gift you more than you think you deserve. You will understand why chasing never works, why scarcity feels louder when you try to silence it, and how to transmute fear into a state of calm certainty that pulls prosperity toward you. As you listen, keep your mind open and your heart soft. Let each word invite you back to the truth you've always known. You were never meant to run after abundance. You were meant to become the still point from which abundance has no choice but to find you. There is an invisible rhythm that governs every act of creation, and when you are disconnected from it, life begins to feel like a constant pursuit of something that always escapes you. Most people spend their entire lives trying to force prosperity into existence, working harder, planning more, saying the right affirmations, but still waking up with that same heaviness inside, that same sense that life keeps happening somewhere else. The truth is, chasing is the opposite of attracting. When you chase, you affirm distance. You declare through every action and every anxious thought that what you desire is not yet yours. Prosperity, however, is not a reward for effort. It is a response to energetic alignment. The moment you stop chasing and start embodying, something profound begins to shift. But embodiment is not pretending. It is not about saying, "I am abundant," while your body trembles with fear and your chest tightens with worry. Real embodiment means teaching your body to feel safe with abundance. That safety cannot be faked, because energy never lies. If, deep down, you still believe that money comes with guilt, that success will isolate you, or that abundance is temporary, your body will continue to vibrate with resistance. The mind can dream of wealth, but the body must believe it is safe to receive it. Until that belief becomes truth, you will keep running, and prosperity will keep its distance, not because it is punishing you, but because it cannot enter a space that rejects it. Every person carries an emotional blueprint that determines how they relate to abundance. This blueprint is not written in your bank account, but in your nervous system. It's in the way your stomach tightens when you check your balance, the way you hold your breath when someone mentions success, the way your shoulders rise in tension when bills arrive. The body remembers the emotional atmosphere of your upbringing, the fear, the scarcity, the arguments about money. Those memories turn into a vibrational signature, and that signature keeps broadcasting into the universe. I am not safe with more. This is the loop that keeps people trapped in survival mode, no matter how many motivational books they read or meditations they attempt. To rewrite this pattern, you must begin not with the mind, but with awareness. Awareness is the first language the universe speaks. When you start noticing how your body reacts to thoughts of abundance, you begin to see where the real blockage lives. It's not the lack of opportunity or intelligence, it's the chronic state of contraction that tells the universe you're not ready yet. Think of your energy field like a radio frequency. When you are tuned to fear, every opportunity that could align with you passes through static. You can't perceive it because you're not on the right wavelength, But when you begin to regulate your internal state, through breath, gratitude, or simply presence, the frequency clears. Suddenly, what used to look like coincidence becomes alignment. You start meeting the right people, hearing the right words, being at the right place without planning it. There's a kind of ease that appears when you stop resisting what already wants to find you. Prosperity doesn't chase you because it needs to. It gravitates naturally toward coherence. You've probably experienced small versions of this before. The day you relaxed and, without effort, a solution appeared. The week you stopped obsessing over money and an unexpected opportunity arrived. Those moments were not random. They were reflections of your energy aligning with flow. The challenge is that most people taste this harmony for a moment and then lose it because their minds start questioning, what if it doesn't last? That fear immediately collapses the vibration back into scarcity. The universe never took abundance away. Fear simply told it to step back. Prosperity is sustained not by momentum but by stillness. You are taught to believe that constant motion equals progress, but in the energetic world, motion without direction is chaos. Stillness, on the other hand, is what allows clarity to emerge. When you become still, not idle but internally still, you begin to sense subtle nudges, intuitive directions, gentle pulls toward what is truly aligned. This is the intelligence of the universe guiding you toward expansion. Most ignore it because it speaks softly, beneath the noise of urgency. But once you begin to listen, life becomes less about managing outcomes and more about aligning intentions. This alignment requires honesty. Many claim to want prosperity, but unconsciously fear what it might change. They fear being judged for success, outgrowing relationships, or facing responsibilities that abundance demands. The universe responds not to the wish, but to the emotional truth behind it. If your inner truth says, "I'm afraid of more," prosperity will respect that boundary. It won't enter where it isn't invited wholeheartedly. So your work is not to chase prosperity, it's to remove the fear of what having it might mean. There is a law of resonance that operates quietly in the background of your existence. You attract not what you want, but what you are ready to sustain. If life hasn't yet given you what you asked for, it's not rejection, it's protection. The universe doesn't withhold abundance out of cruelty. It waits until your energy can handle the responsibility of receiving. This perspective changes everything. It transforms impatience into preparation, frustration into refinement. Every delay becomes sacred timing. When you begin to embody this truth, gratitude becomes your foundation. Gratitude is not a performance, it's the vibration of enoughness. It tells the universe, I already recognize the richness of this moment. That frequency magnetizes more to be grateful for, because the universe expands whatever you acknowledge with sincerity. Gratitude anchors you in the present, the only place where manifestation actually happens. Prosperity can only find you now, not in the future you keep imagining. To let prosperity chase you, you must stop running from stillness. Stillness is not inactivity, it is alignment in motion. It is the calm within the storm that says, I trust that I am guided. And from that trust, action becomes intuitive rather than desperate. You make choices that align with flow instead of fear. You say no without guilt. You say yes without hesitation. You begin to live as if prosperity were already orbiting your energy, because it is. The more you stay anchored in your own worth, the more the universe recognizes you as a match for abundance. In the end, the question is not, how can I attract more? But how can I become the person who no longer needs to chase? When you reach that state of coherence, life shifts from survival to symphony. Everything you need begins to find its way to you, not as a miracle, but as the most natural consequence of being in tune with your own energy. Every external result begins as an internal design. The architecture of prosperity is not built from money, status, or luck. It is constructed through emotional coherence. Before a person can hold abundance in their hands, they must first be able to hold peace within their body. This is the part of the journey most people avoid, because it asks for silence, vulnerability, and honesty. It requires that you face the emotional structures you've built unconsciously over the years, structures made from fear, guilt, and survival. Prosperity does not enter a house that trembles under its own weight. It waits for a foundation strong enough to receive without collapsing. Emotions are the architects of vibration. Every thought carries an energetic signature, but it is emotion that gives that signature density and shape. When your emotions are in harmony with your desires, your reality begins to respond almost effortlessly. But when your emotions contradict your intentions, when you say, "I want abundance," but feel unworthy or ashamed, the signal you emit becomes fragmented. The universe, in its precision, mirrors this fragmentation back to you. You may notice moments of progress followed by sudden setbacks, opportunities that appear and disappear quickly, or patterns that repeat despite your best efforts. None of this is punishment. It is feedback from a field that never lies. Imagine your inner world as a building under construction. Some walls are sturdy, confidence, gratitude, presence, while others are cracked with old narratives like, "I have to suffer to earn," or "wealth changes people." These cracks may not seem visible at first, but they shape how energy flows through you. When you try to manifest from a structure filled with unresolved tension, your energy leaks. You might call it bad luck, but it's simply misaligned architecture. The emotional body cannot support abundance when it's built upon guilt. To understand the emotional foundation of prosperity, we must first recognize the emotional habits that quietly sabotage it. Fear of loss is one of the most common. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's as subtle as the thought that something good won't last. Every time you brace yourself for disappointment, your body memorizes scarcity as the default state. It becomes addicted to worry, mistaking it for safety. The second sabotaging emotion is guilt. Guilt convinces you that receiving more than others makes you selfish. It makes you shrink in the name of humility. Yet guilt is not virtue. It is a distortion of empathy that disconnects you from the natural flow of giving and receiving. True generosity cannot exist when you are ashamed of having more. The third emotion is shame. Shame whispers that you are fundamentally unworthy of the peace and ease that prosperity brings. It buries itself deep, often rooted in early experiences of rejection or comparison. Shame does not only block abundance, it also blinds you to the beauty already present in your life. It teaches you to overlook what is working, to dismiss your progress, and to sabotage success before it stabilizes. Healing shame is therefore not a luxury. It is the restoration of your capacity to recognize divine reciprocity. To shift this architecture, you must first allow emotion to move. Suppressed emotion becomes dense energy. Every tear you hold back, every sigh you silence, every moment you pretend to be fine when your soul is screaming otherwise, it all becomes weight. That weight lowers your vibration, not because sadness is bad, but because denial creates resistance. The process of emotional alchemy begins with permission, the permission to feel without judgment. When you finally let your emotions breathe, they begin to dissolve, and energy starts flowing again. That flow is prosperity's native language. Once the emotional body is acknowledged, the next step is integration. Integration means transforming emotional rawness into clarity. It is the practice of asking, "What is this feeling teaching me?" instead of "How do I get rid of it?" Fear may be teaching you discernment. Guilt may be teaching you balance. Shame may be teaching you compassion. When you begin to see emotions as guides rather than enemies, they lose their control over you. You shift from resistance to relationship, and in that relationship, energy stabilizes. A stable energy field is what attracts opportunities that stay. This stability creates a new frequency, one that prosperity recognizes instantly. You stop trying to control outcomes and begin to embody trust. Trust does not mean blind optimism. It is the quiet confidence that whatever leaves your life is making space for something more aligned. Trust allows you to make decisions from peace rather than panic. When you choose from peace, your actions become magnetic. You no longer chase results. You become the environment where results thrive. At this stage, gratitude becomes the emotional mortar that holds your inner structure together. Gratitude is not a denial of difficulty. It is an acknowledgement of grace within it. When you are grateful even in uncertainty, you send a clear message to the universe. I recognize the lesson before the reward. That recognition accelerates manifestation because it harmonizes your frequency with abundance. Prosperity is not created from accumulation. It is created from appreciation. Appreciation multiplies what it touches. Let us look at what happens when this emotional architecture matures. Your perception begins to shift. Scarcity no longer feels personal. It becomes information. You no longer take delays as rejection, but as divine pacing. You start to sense that every pause, every silence, every unanswered prayer has been a form of preparation. You stop fighting the rhythm and start dancing with it. This is where emotional intelligence meets spiritual maturity. Prosperity stops being an external goal and becomes a reflection of your internal state. You may notice that people treat you differently, opportunities appear effortlessly, or challenges resolve without resistance. These are not coincidences, they are signals of alignment. When the architecture of your emotions supports your intentions, your external world must obey. Energy organizes itself around coherence. Coherence means your thoughts, feelings, and actions are no longer in conflict. When that harmony stabilizes, prosperity becomes inevitable. Finally, it's important to understand that emotional mastery is not perfection. It is the commitment to awareness, even when you falter. Some days your structure may shake under the weight of old patterns, and that's natural. The difference now is that you know how to rebuild without fear. You know that emotion is not your enemy, but your compass. Every tear becomes a blueprint for expansion. Every breakthrough begins where honesty meets self-compassion. This is the emotional architecture of prosperity, a structure built not on control, but on surrender, not on pretending to be light, but on embracing your shadows as sacred. When you live from this place, you stop trying to earn abundance. You remember that you are its home, and in that remembrance, prosperity no longer needs to be summoned. It finds you because you have become the sanctuary where it belongs. At the heart of all manifestation lies a paradox that most people never master: the dance between stillness and flow. To understand prosperity, you must understand this duality. Stillness is not the absence of motion, it is the presence of awareness. Flow is not chaos, it is movement guided by alignment. When stillness and flow coexist, you stop fighting against life and begin to move with its natural current. This harmony is where prosperity is born, not from force, but from resonance. The world teaches you to equate movement with progress. You are told to always be doing, striving, achieving, yet this constant state of effort often creates noise that drowns the very guidance you seek. True prosperity does not emerge from noise, it emerges from clarity. Clarity is born in stillness. When you are still, you can hear the subtle rhythm of the universe whispering directions through intuition, sensations, and synchronicities. Stillness is the frequency where the infinite becomes visible, where the invisible turns into instruction. But stillness without flow leads to stagnation. If you remain in contemplation without taking inspired action, you turn spiritual wisdom into spiritual inertia. Flow is the natural expansion that follows true stillness. It is when the insights gained in quiet reflection translate into movement, choice, and creation. Flow is not impulsive, it is intuitive. It does not rush, but it never hesitates. It knows that timing is sacred and that each step is already held by the intelligence of the universe. To align stillness and flow is to understand the rhythm of existence itself. The universe expands and contracts, breathes in and out, gives and receives. Your energy mirrors this universal pattern. When you act from fear, you interrupt the rhythm. When you act from presence, you move in perfect harmony with it. The goal is not to control the rhythm, but to attune to it. This attunement is what allows prosperity to reach you naturally, because you are no longer vibrating out of sync with life. Consider how nature expresses this law. The ocean never chases its waves. It simply allows the tides to move through it. The trees do not force their growth. They expand when the season calls. Everything that thrives does so through cooperation with rhythm. You too are part of this same design. When you learn to be still, you synchronize with the intelligence that moves planets, opens flowers, and guides birds in migration. That same intelligence governs the flow of opportunities, relationships, and abundance in your life. This alignment begins with trust. Trust is the bridge between stillness and flow. Without trust, stillness turns into fear of inaction, and flow turns into frantic movement. Trust tells you that not every silence is rejection, and not every pause is delay. It allows you to remain centered, even when life appears uncertain. Prosperity is not linear, it moves in spirals. There are moments of acceleration and moments of retreat, both necessary. When you trust the spiral, you stop resisting its turns. In practical terms, alignment with stillness and flow means cultivating presence in every action. Whether you are sending an email, creating a project, or making a decision, your internal state matters more than the action itself. A single choice made from inner alignment carries more power than 100 made from anxiety. Prosperity responds to the energy behind your actions, not the number of them. When you act from stillness, your actions become magnetic. They carry the vibration of clarity and certainty, which the universe mirrors back as synchronicity and ease. Many people confuse surrender with passivity. They believe that to surrender means to stop caring, when in truth, surrender is the highest form of participation. It means allowing the flow of life to guide you without resistance while remaining fully present in each moment. Stillness teaches you to listen. Flow teaches you to respond. Together, they create a conversation with the universe that is always moving, always evolving. Prosperity is simply the echo of that conversation. One of the most powerful aspects of this alignment is how it dissolves the illusion of control. Control is rooted in fear, the fear that if you do not manage everything, it will fall apart. But the deeper truth is that life has always been moving on your behalf, even when you could not see it. Every challenge, every delay, every heartbreak was part of the rhythm recalibrating you toward alignment. When you stop trying to dictate the rhythm, you begin to see that nothing was ever against you. It was always preparing you for coherence. In this space of coherence, your inner world and outer world begin to mirror each other with astonishing precision. You may find that you think of someone and they call, or that you dream of a possibility and it unfolds within days. This is not magic. It is mathematics at the energetic level. The universe is a system of frequency and resonance. When you live in alignment with stillness and flow, your signal becomes pure. You no longer send mixed messages. You no longer ask for abundance while radiating fear. You simply become a stable point of attraction, and the universe responds accordingly. Another key to this alignment is humility. The humility to realize that you are both the creator and the creation. Stillness reveals your divine nature. Flow expresses it. Humility allows you to act with power without arrogance, to receive abundance without entitlement, and to give without depletion. It reminds you that you are not above or below the universe. You are part of its infinite expression. From this realization, gratitude becomes your natural state. You no longer chase, because you finally understand you were never separate from the source of all creation. There is a quiet confidence that arises when you live from this alignment. Decisions become easier because they are guided by resonance rather than fear. Relationships become more peaceful because you no longer need validation to feel secure. Work becomes sacred because it becomes an extension of your energy rather than a means to prove your worth. Prosperity, then, is no longer a pursuit. It is a byproduct of coherence. It is the river that finds its way back to the ocean without effort. When stillness and flow unite, you stop seeking and start receiving. You realize that your purpose is not to chase blessings, but to create the energetic space for them to arrive. The moment you surrender the illusion of control and step into trust, you become the flow itself. In that state, prosperity no longer needs to be called. It recognizes its own reflection and moves toward you with ease. This is the secret rhythm of abundance. It does not demand struggle or proof. It requires only that you remember the music already playing within you. When you become both the silence and the sound, both the stillness and the flow, prosperity will never again be something you chase. It will be something that dances toward you, gracefully, consistently, inevitably. Every form of prosperity begins as a vibration long before it becomes matter. The frequency of prosperity is not something to learn, it is something to remember. It is the natural state of being that exists beneath layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning. When you strip away those layers, what remains is an energy that hums with peace, trust, and expansion. This frequency cannot be forced. It must be tuned into, like finding the right note in a song that was always playing within you. To align with prosperity is not to acquire something new, but to return to the wholeness that never left you. The first step in tuning into this frequency is understanding that prosperity is not limited to wealth or material success. It is an energetic ecosystem, a harmony between the emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual layers of your existence. When one of those layers falls out of balance, you begin to feel fragmented, and this fragmentation distorts the frequency. Imagine an instrument with one string out of tune. Even if all the others play beautifully, the sound carries tension. The same happens within you. Prosperity flows through coherence, not conflict. Every thought of lack, every suppressed emotion, every act of self-doubt slightly detunes the signal. The goal, therefore, is not perfection, but harmony. Returning to harmony begins with awareness of how your energy interacts with the world. Every emotion, every word, every choice is an act of transmission. When you speak from fear, your energy contracts. When you act from love, it expands. Prosperity responds to expansion. It cannot be attracted by words alone, because the universe does not respond to language, it responds to vibration. This is why so many people say affirmations, but feel no change. The words are correct, but the emotional tone behind them contradicts their meaning. It's like pressing the accelerator and the brake at the same time. The car moves nowhere, not because it lacks power, but because it is being pulled in two directions. The shift begins when you realize that the prosperity frequency is rooted in sufficiency. Sufficiency is not complacency. It is the energetic knowing that this moment is already enough. From that foundation, everything else can expand naturally. If you manifest from need, your energy says, "I don't have." If you manifest from sufficiency, your energy says, "I already am." The difference may seem subtle, but to the universe it is everything. The field of creation amplifies what you broadcast, not what you wish for. When you radiate wholeness, you magnetize more experiences that reflect it. There is also an emotional intelligence embedded in prosperity. When you begin to vibrate at this frequency, you stop seeing life as a series of obstacles and start recognizing patterns of alignment. You realize that the moments of delay were not punishments, but calibrations. You understand that rejection is redirection, that loss is the clearing of old energy, and that silence is often the universe rearranging the field to support your next expansion. Prosperity does not always appear as gain. Sometimes it appears as release. The person who learns to see both as blessings has entered the true frequency of abundance. One of the most profound realizations on this path is that the universe is not separate from you. It is responding through you. Every intuitive impulse, every inspired idea, every coincidence is the universe speaking your language. When you ignore these impulses, you step out of resonance. When you honor them, you strengthen the signal. That's why intuition is the most powerful currency in the field of prosperity. It allows you to act not from desperation, but from divine timing. You move when the energy says move and rest when it says wait. This partnership between intuition and patience creates a rhythm that prosperity cannot resist. But there's a deeper truth, one that transcends even the idea of manifestation. The prosperity frequency is not about accumulating, it's about remembering your infinite nature. You are an expression of universal consciousness, experiencing itself through human form. When you operate from this awareness, prosperity becomes an extension of your essence, not an external pursuit. You stop thinking, "How can I get more?" and start asking, "How can I express the fullness that already lives within me?" In that shift, abundance ceases to be conditional. It becomes constant, because you are no longer depending on outcomes to define it. This return to wholeness also means reconciling with the parts of yourself you once rejected. Every fragment you've disowned, fear, anger, shame, contains energy that was once pure before it was distorted by pain. When you embrace those parts with compassion, you reintegrate their power. The more of yourself you reclaim, the more energy you have available for creation. Wholeness is not the absence of imperfection. It is the ability to love every aspect of your being without needing it to change. That love creates coherence, and coherence is the foundation of prosperity. At this point, something remarkable begins to happen. You start noticing that external prosperity mirrors internal peace. The more you rest in your natural state of enoughness, the more life responds with opportunities, synchronicities, and effortless manifestations. You become less reactive and more receptive. You begin to understand that money, love, and success are not rewards. They are reflections of your relationship with energy. The cleaner your energy becomes, the more clearly the universe mirrors abundance back to you. It's essential to remember that tuning into the prosperity frequency is not a one-time event. It is a continual practice. Just like a musician tuning an instrument daily, you must keep listening to your own vibration. There will be days when you slip into doubt or contraction. That's part of the rhythm. The difference now is awareness. When you feel misaligned, you don't panic. You pause, you breathe, you realign. In that simple act of awareness, you return to the flow. This is the journey of returning to wholeness. It is not about chasing prosperity, but about remembering that prosperity has always been the natural rhythm of your soul. You are not creating abundance. You are removing the interference that has kept you from feeling it. Every act of self-compassion, every moment of presence, every breath of gratitude brings you closer to your original vibration. And when you live from that vibration, prosperity no longer needs to find you, it recognizes you. In the end, the prosperity frequency is not about becoming something more. It is about remembering that you have never been anything less. You are already whole. You are already enough. And the moment you live from that truth, prosperity flows not as a pursuit, but as a reflection of who you are. Prosperity has never been about luck, chance, or the generosity of fate. It has always been an energetic conversation between who you believe you are and what the universe knows you to be. Every challenge, every waiting season, every moment of stillness has been preparing you to understand that abundance is not something you acquire, it is something you align with. You are not meant to fight your way into prosperity. You are meant to remember that it has been waiting for your permission to flow through you. The journey we've explored in this video, the transition from chasing to receiving, from chaos to harmony, from fragmentation to wholeness, is the path back to yourself. True abundance begins when you stop seeing yourself as separate from the intelligence that creates worlds. You are not a small being hoping for miracles. You are a divine expression of the same creative force that sets galaxies in motion. When you live in that remembrance, every breath becomes an act of manifestation. Stillness anchors you. Flow carries you. Gratitude amplifies you. Together, they form the rhythm of prosperity that never ends. Your task is not to control the music, but to dance with it. When you surrender to that rhythm, life rearranges itself to meet you in ways you could never have planned. The people, the opportunities, the answers, they all appear at the precise moment you embody the vibration that calls them forth. The universe is always listening to the sound of your energy, and when that sound is clear, when it sings with trust, love, and worthiness, prosperity cannot resist moving toward you. Because it does not see you as separate, it recognizes you as home. The moment you remember this truth is the moment you stop searching. Prosperity was never something to find. It was always who you were becoming all along. Now I want to leave you with one question, one that could change everything if you truly sit with it. Are you ready to stop chasing and finally become the frequency that prosperity has been searching for all this time? If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another moment of reflection and transformation. And before you go, continue this journey by watching the next video that's appearing on your screen right now. It's been waiting for you, just like prosperity always has.